Over the last few weeks, we have witnessed the insurmountable grief and rage of people across the country. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari and Rajkot to Silchar, people from all walks of life have taken to the streets to demand justice for the victim of the spine-chilling Kolkata rape and murder case. Amidst this furor, several other such cases have made headlines too, whether the sexual assault of two nursery students in Badlapur, the gang rape of a 14-year-old girl in Nagaon, and rape and murder of a nurse in Uttarakhand. And amidst the outrage, we take a moment to examine how to make sure that such dastardly crimes can be prevented. NewsX has proposed a 6-point plan in this regard. Our proposal has been endorsed and lauded by several eminent people, including West Bengal Governor C.V. Ananda Bose, IMA President R.V. Ashokan, Advocate Seema Kushwaha, Nirbhaya's lawyer, and Valerian Santos, the father of Keenan Santos, as well. Well, at this point in time, Dr. Ashish Chaudhry, MD of Aakash Healthcare Super Specialty Hospital, is also joining us to talk more about this. It's an important conversation, the one that needs expert opinion. It's a conversation, Dr. Ashish, that needs, an absolute kind of a closure, because this is not only about West Bengal, this is about the entire country. Perhaps, West Bengal is serving as a beacon or a lighthouse at this point in time from where this light is coming. But the fact of the matter is that since Nirbhaya, this is a question which has remained unanswered, and this is a problem which has not been approached with the right guidelines and the right study and research. What's your take on it?
Absolutely, Vineet. Since the time this case has caught the attention of media and the entire India as well as globally, it has become one of the center points of discussion. I strongly feel that the movement which has started thereafter, I think it should not settle down. And of course, Nirbhaya gave us lot of learnings, but I don't think that has gone rightly with the people at large. Such episodes have been repeated again, and even we are speaking, one happening in Kolkata, but I think almost every state is facing one or the other severity of such crimes. So there has to be a permanent solution. There has to be something which comes as a deterrent for the population, for the people who are roaming around across India. We don't know where they can commit the crime. And of course, when it comes to a healthcare worker, which has become a center point, if the hospital, the doctors and the healthcare staff is not safe in the hospital working in the interest of patient, then only God can help rest of the population. So this is I would say something which requires an urgent attention, requires a central modification in the central law, requires direct Supreme Court instructions and intervention, which has already started. I hope that it meets the right end and it becomes a safer place, a safer country for the people, especially for the women to thrive, survive and proliferate.
Dr. Chaudhry, when you talk about rape cases and this behavior towards women, it brings out a plethora of issues and a plethora of complications which have existed in our society for a very long time. Patriarchy is always brought in. Education from the ground up level is also something that is brought in. Sensitization of the first responders, which is the police force, which is also brought in. Citizen journalists are also brought in when you talk about this conversation. Where do you think the government needs to start? But if you talk about state-wise solutions to these problems, law and order is a state subject. The center can definitely mold laws, but law and order is something which can be handled by states. Do you think that this problem has been put in the back burner and taken for granted, and this perhaps this episode is going to revive this conversation?
If you look at the state versus center, of course, the governments can be different at various locations, various states. But I think looking at the problem and the perennial nature of such crimes happening across India, I think there has to be a central body, central force, which can guide and instruct the states on a particular way of handling such situation. And I'm sure every state has got, the law in place but the enforcement becomes so weak, the data collection, the evidence collection becomes so weak, and we are allowing, the first responder, even the people who are there, the first policeman who reaches the spot. I think the sanitization of the space, the evidence collection, everything needs to be looked at from a nation's perspective rather than from a state to state variation, because it is happening in West Bengal, it has already happened in Delhi, it has already happened in many other states to a various extent. I think not one state, we can't really go back to every state and make a customized program, because the crime is same, the mindset is same, and the outcomes happening is leaving a lifelong scar on the minds of that woman. If the woman survives, I think there has to be something which comes as a directive right from the center, which can be the greatest deterrent. And of course, the law enforcement, of course, we can take a lot of cues from Western world and so many other countries who are very stringent, on such laws, and the implementation becomes a challenge. Our laws are very, they're drafted nicely. The constitution is, very protective of the women's rights, but the implementation is the key. I don't think that is taking the front seat. We have to make sure that such heinous crimes have to be punished, have to meet the end, so that the fear among the population to commit such a crime in future, it should be supreme. One should not think that they can get away with the system just by manipulating the facts and manipulating the local police and the law of the land.
You're absolutely right, Dr. Chaudhry. But let's also, talk about how sensitization can help understand what women go through, even when, cases don't amount to rape. The problem of eve teasing, the general attitude, the patriarchy, the general behavior, which is responsible for these cases getting to extremes, is also directly tied up to our education system, on how we in fact make our children study. Do you think that also needs to go through a sea change before we can actually call India a safe place for women?
Absolutely. So whatever we have discussed so far is actually the treatment of a disease or a problem. But I think if we go back to the long-term solution, I think preventive care is much more important. Educating right from the parents who, throughout the childhood, how they treat, the male and a female child, how they are able to imbibe the values among the kids, especially the boys. Because every time, right from the beginning, right from the childhood, their small little mistakes, their errant behaviors, they are ignored, considering that they are the male members. But I think the education starts right at home, from the mother, from the father, from the grandparents, and the family. That can only, make the mindset much more mature, more tolerant, and more respectful towards the woman. So unless that happens, I mean, even if the education is not there, they will still reach out to that level where patriarchal society will force or make the male members, disrespect and go to commit a varying degree of crimes against women. And then, of course, law enforcement can take care of that. But how do we improve the society as a whole? I think those preventive steps, right in the childhood, the foundation of the education system, and that too at the home, how they treat the kids, how they make sure that the equal rights are being, bestowed upon male and female kids. That's going to be a game changer. Of course, it's going to take a few decades to, get that education going, even the last mile of the country. But I think somewhere we have to start. Somewhere the central effort should not only be on the law enforcement, but also to be educating the parents and the families. So how to raise the boys, how to make them more tolerant and more respectful towards women. I think that's going to be something which will be a sustainable thing for the longest time.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.